Norsca! YouTube, what the crap's going on? Heir of Carthage here. Indeed with Norsca. I'm gonna have 2 Norsca matches for you, one of which hasn't been seen before. The other was on my stream last night, but was so incredibly laggy, I felt like it deserved to still have its own show. So I am here with Wulfric the Wanderer and a Death Shaman. Actually, I'm gonna do the slow-mo so you can catch my army. I've got 4 Berserkers, 2 Ice Trolls, 2 Famir Warriors with great weapons. You'll notice the Famir Warriors with great weapons serve 2 purposes. 1, they're anti-large. 2, they're anti-armor. 3, I said 2 purposes, there's really 4. 3, they're magical attacks. And 4, they sunder armor, which makes them a fantastic counter to Grail Knights and Grail Guardians, both of which could otherwise be pretty dangerous to Bretonnia. So I've brought the Famir Warriors with great weapons along with 3 Marauder Spearmen to support them. Downside is I don't have any real fast-moving units. I maybe could have sacrificed somewhere and gotten a couple of Hounds, and that could have potentially been handy. The Bretonnian player kind of deployed in an odd spot on the downside of this hill, and despite the fact that this map was pretty heavy terrain, he brought a Blessed Field Trebuchet. Let's check out his army. He's got 4 archers. It's a mix of pox and fire arrows, so he's hoping to poison and do fire damage. Fire damage can hurt several units from Norsca, so I guess it's okay. He's got a couple of polearms, 1 on each flank. His front line is just cheap peasants, a couple of spearmen at arms. His infantry is really weak, and that infantry is making way for the Knights of the Lion-Hearted. And then a little further over here, he's got a Grail Knight hidden away as well. So he's got the 2 heavy cavalry there, and then he's got 2 paladins on foot supporting his infantry, and then a Grail Relique. So he spent a lot of money on these units, and he doesn't have I mean, not that Bretonnia can offer a great infantry line, but he doesn't have a great infantry line. There is this, like I said, the Holy Wardens of La Maisental. That's a decentish infantry for him, and then he's got this Beast Slayers of Bassone, which again, decentish infantry. As you can see, his arrows are going to cause me a lot of damage at first. I'm going to keep my Ice Trolls at a slightly greater distance because I don't want them to fall victim to the fire arrows. They are vulnerable to them. I'm going to do a group attack order here. The group attack order used to work a lot better. You can see here it's actually kind of grouping and following. I need to get a little bit better about just follow-up orders to make sure my guys have their own targets. At first, my Famir Warriors started to run in, and then I was like, you know what? I actually don't want them in combat, so I'm going to let my 2 Chaos Marauders and my 4 Berserkers do all the fighting. And I'm going to hold back my Spearmen and my Famir Warriors, and I'm going to try and find gaps in his lines with the Ice Trolls. I'm already finding one here. And you can see immediately the peasants and the spears in the center are just going to melt away. So Bretonnia really didn't have anything to hold him steady, and I'm going to try and break into his lines with these Ice Trolls, but I'm a little bit slow to react once I get through the line. Looks like I'm going to take to it there. The Wardens of La Maisental try to stop me, but I mean, Ice Trolls do cause some tremendous damage in melee. But I'm going to end up getting them surrounded back here, and they're a low leadership unit, so that's actually not very ideal on my part. He's got 1 polearm up here that I'm just keeping busy. It's actually technically being attacked by this unit, just got a strange attack order. He brings in his Knights of the Lion-Hearted. That's going to shut down my Trolls real fast. They were kicking some butt, but butt kicking no longer. My other Ice Troll is going to go over here and hit the Beast Slayers in the back. I'm going to try and cause some damage to these guys while they're busy with a Marauder. And we should be able to do some tremendous damage. Again, just holding the Famir Warriors and a couple of spears, and I'm waiting for the opportunity to go after his cavalry because I've shattered his infantry, and there's really no threat to Wulfric up here. And right now I've got too many Berserkers committed to that fight. I am going to break it up. The Fey Enchantress is kind of just hovering back here, literally. Behind the lines waiting for an opportunity. Wulfric's going to go after her in just a moment too. So you can see my opponent does finally commit his Grail Guardians, Grail Knights over here. And my Ice Trolls aren't going to like that, but my Famir Warriors with great weapons are all about this fight right here. You can see that they're already dropping the armor of the Grail Knights, and they will cause tremendous damage in this fight. His Grail Knights do not want to be around those Famir Warriors. So he's going to get them out of there. Indeed he should, but I'm going to chase him. He's going to also bring in this Knights of the Lion-Hearted, but even though they're not a unit with physical resistance, at least I don't think they do. No, they don't. They're still not going to like fighting Famir Warriors with great weapons. The Famir Warriors cause a ton of armor-piercing damage. The Knights of the Lion-Hearted, not so much armor-piercing damage. And so those Knights of the Lion-Hearted are going to get chewed up pretty bad, especially considering their spears here as well. Wulfric is now engaging the Fae. He should technically be able to kill her pretty quickly, but there's... he's not... Yeah, there he goes. He gets a hold of her good. He's knocking her around pretty bad. The Paladins eventually just kind of give way. They didn't... I mean, you can't hold up the leadership of peasants with Paladins. I think if you bring something more like Foot Squires and some, you know, I don't know, Men-at-Arms with a bunch of upgrades or something like that, you might be able to hold them in the fight with Paladins, but it's not going to happen with peasants. The peasants are just going to die, regardless of what the leadership situation is. My Famir Warriors are going to go ahead and start pushing in behind the lines. I want to see if I can draw in the cavalry to attack me, so I'm going to start making a push for his archers. His Knights of the Lion-Hearted got involved in another combat and gets routed. The only cavalry unit he's got right now is a Grail Guardian, and I would love for that Grail Guardian to come engage my Famir Warriors. I get a hold of one of his archers. I've been using Wulfric's boat to do damage to his archers. It's actually been pretty effective. Wulfric's already got 147 kills, and that's mostly archers that he's got with that. Here his Grail Knights are going to engage the Famir Warriors. You're going to see these guys just get absolutely waylaid. The Famir Warriors here are going to be the hard counter, I think, to the Grail Knights. See, they get chewed up much faster than they normally would. Even with Earthblood trying to come in and save them, it just won't be enough. The Fey Enchantress, I just kind of left her because I need Wulfric's speed at this point. He's going to have to help me hunt down the archers. The archers are doing as much damage as they can, but Bretonnian archers, not armor-piercing. Famir Warriors, very well armored. I almost think his archers' targets would have been better to... I've had a blob of berserkers here in the center for way too long, and he could have punished me for it two ways. He has the dwellers below, which could have punished it, but his archers also could have punished that that berserker blob pretty badly because they're unarmored. So he was using a lot of his ammo on my armored units, but perhaps clearing out my less armored units may have given them more benefit. But now my Famir Warriors and also Wulfric is back here. They can't outrun Wulfric. The Famir Warriors possibly, but yeah, Wulfric not so much. That's going to shatter the remnants of his archers, and the Fey Enchantress shatters as well. So, successful outing for Norsca against Bretonnia. I feel like Norsca has a ton of tools. Bretonnia has some tools, and who knows, maybe in the hands of a good player, Bretonnia is a threat, but I don't know. I would be scared to bring Bretonnia against Norsca, because everything Bretonnia can do, it feels like Norsca can do it better, with the exception of heavy cavalry. But then they have the Famir Warriors, who are basically a hard counter to Bretonnia's heavy cavalry. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Be curious to see what you all think. But good game to Strabe or Strabe here, however pronounce that. Thank you for the game. It's a huge Bretonnian army. He had tons of troops, but again, look at that. 2 kills, 0 kills, 3 kills, 5 kills, 2 kills. Doesn't matter how cheap these units are. They're just not going to pay off in that scenario. Just not going to happen. So, in any case, that's how that one panned out. Look at Wulfric there with 160 kills. I know I didn't catch any of it, but it was his ship. My Shaman Sorcerer actually died really early in this fight. He charged in with Wulfric. I did not see what caught him, but something caught him and absolutely shut him down quickly. Like I said, I didn't exactly catch what it was, but he got shut down quickly. Now, let's jump over into another replay. This is actually going to be from Reptile King's perspective, because I accidentally forgot to save the replay. This was from my stream last night. And by the way, you all might be wondering, Air, what's with these videos? So I have a schedule out. If you want to know my schedule, you can go, actually I'll start pasting it in the comments of these videos so that you all can get familiar with it until I find a better place to paste it. But yeah, so on Wednesday, I'm supposed to give you a faction focus or unit testing along with battle replays that I played, not my community. So I am giving you the replay. I am a little behind this week because I had to work till 8 o'clock on Monday, so I will not have the unit testing or faction focus this week. But tomorrow, keep your eye out. Tomorrow is Thursday, which means it's Throwback Thursday, so you're going to get yourself a Rome 2 replay as well as a Rome 2 live stream. So keep an eye out tomorrow for those videos. Should be a lot of fun. So let me introduce you to the theme of the battle. The theme was basically the hordes of chaos versus all the elves. So we've got the beastmen, Norsca, and Chaos facing off against the dark elves, wood elves, and high elves. Rather than introduce you to everybody's army in full, I have a very similar army that I had last time, except just one Famir warrior, one ice troll, and I've got a couple of skin wolves this time, but still Wolfric and the Death Shaman. The Beastmen have several Bestigor herd, 4 actually up front with Morgur the Shadow Cave, and then they have forward deployed a bunch of Hounds and Centigors in the background. And then the Chaos player over here has some Chaos Marauders, and then some Marauders with great weapons in the center. Back here in the back, some Forsaken, yes, Chaos Chariot, Summoners of Rage, Chaos Trolls, and we're going to have Chaos Lord, Lore of Shadows. Interesting pick indeed. A Chosen with Halberds in the very back, along with that other Chaos Troll. And then for the Elves, this High Elf player has about 4 or 5 spears in total, 2 Sword Masters of Hoeth, 1 Phoenix Guard, a Lore Master, Tyrion, and then you can see the Wood Elf player backing him up with the Wardens of Sithral and Loex Tricksters, which is the regiment's renowned units. There are 2 archers with light armor, and then 2 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. You can see they're about to be ambushed. Check it out, we got a cool unit here, this other regiment of renown, the Firebark Elders, Treekin, pretty impressive looking unit. We've got Orion in for the Wood Elves, and it looks like the Wood Elves have brought like all the regiments of renown. We got the Winterheart Guard, the Spell Singer, and then for the Dark Elves, there's some Dread Spears, Bleak Swords, Bolt Fiends, Black Ark Corsairs, Cold One Knights, Witch Elves, and then up on the, they've got a Dreadlord on a Black Dragon, along with a Sorceress of Fire. So that's most of the troops you're going to see here. There's also the Hawkeye's Way Watchers here. So the Wood Elves player was clearly going for the almost all regiments are now. And you can see the Beastmen doing what Beastmen do best, ambushing early and taking out a lot of skirmishers. And the Wood Elves and High Elves, Dark Elves, all the Elves, they need those skirmishers badly. On my army, I'm rocking the aspect of Dread Knight, which is going to be a spell that can cause terror. It can cause all of the units within the radius to cause terror. So I'm going to use it to try and break up individual units, and you'll notice that I put my Ice Trolls in over here to do the armor-piercing damage against the Sword Masters, and I'm going to swing my Berserkers right through the center. I always get hit with the giant flaming head, so I've already been hit by the flaming head. You can see over here the Chaos player engaging the Dark Elves. The Dark Elves' infantry is not fantastic, but the Chaos player, other than the Chosen with Halberds, not rocking some insane infantry either. Orion's dropping in his abilities. And this battle was, in real life, extremely laggy, so it was sometimes hard to even control my forces. Here's that aspect of Dread Knight. You can see it instantly would terrify the Swordmaster. So we're going to punish out that Swordmaster, and what I've done here intentionally is free up a flank for us to keep pushing through here. In the center, we just completely overwhelmed him. Morgur has 2 units of Chaos Spawn running all over. I've got a unit of Famir Warriors laying down some massive armor-piercing damage and armor sundering. The Lore Master routes because of the attack by Wolfric. And remember, I'm actually the one playing as Norsca here. This is just from Reptile King's point of view. Reptile King is playing the Beastmen. See Tyrion actually going after my Skin Wolf. I'd forgotten about the Skin Wolf, but I don't think Tyrion wants to be fighting a Skin Wolf. So he'll learn pretty quickly that was probably not the best engagement. Here comes another Burning Head over here. I don't know, I mean, I guess you guys just love seeing my troops get burned to death. You know what, I don't mind it too. I mean, that was pretty cool looking. So feel free, burn my troops to death. For entertainment's sake. For entertainment's sake. So yeah, you can see we're having pretty good luck on this flank. We're really pushing back into the Elves hard. The Elves brought fairly weak infantry and a good deal of skirmishers, and quite honestly, they probably should have focused on some pretty heavy infantry builds to try and hold back all these ones, because it's so hard to guard your skirmishers. And you can see here the Chaos Chariots just running amok. And so guarding their skirmishers has been impossible for the Elf factions, because the Beastmen, I've got Skin Wolves running around, Chaos has Chariots running around. I'm surprised how long this flank was able to hold out. I brought my Shaman Sorcerer over again, and I'm going to use the aspect of Dread Knight, but check this out, Pearl of Infinite Bleakness, immune to psychology. It's almost like they know what I'm up to here. But that ran out, and I brought up my Ice Trolls, and then my Famir Warriors, and I'm going to pinch this Phoenix Guard from both flanks. And then my Shaman Sorcerer is going to use Aspect of Dread Knight again. And at this point, we should be able to terrorize both Tyrion and the Phoenix Guard. So, should be a great opportunity. And then we can probably get these Loex Tricksters if they're... No, they're immune to Psychology right now, so we won't get them with the Terror. But we did rout them, regardless. The Phoenix Guard get terrified, and then Tyrion gets terrified. So once again, using that special spell to just kind of break through what would otherwise have been a pretty tough spot for us, because those Phoenix Guard were not going to die easy. The tree bark, or the fire bark elders. The Firebark Elders look absolutely stunning. These guys are probably one of the coolest looking units in the game. I mean, just look at that. Firebark Elders are amazing. And they are putting up one heck of a fight over here, too. They're being attacked by the Summoners of Rage, which is no joke. So they're taking a pretty big beating. So we've run out most of the elves' units. They still do have these Wild Hunters of Kurnos and the Hawkeyes of Drakira, who have been using all their ammo, but they don't have a ton of kills to show for it. It's hard to say whether or not it's worth it, because it depends on, you know, what was the value of the unit that they've used that ammo on. Here they're trying to get rid of the Summoners of Rage. Not a bad target. But the Dreadlord and this Fire Sorceress are probably a couple of things that are even keeping the balance bar alive right now, because in terms of infantry, the elves lost pretty convincingly on our left-hand side. A little bit closer fight on the right-hand side, but they still have essentially lost that fight, other than a couple of spearmen sticking around. The Dreadlord came down amongst the Summoners of Rage, but there's also a Marauder Horseman with throwing axes here. So that's actually not going to be a good time for that Dreadlord. He's not going to really enjoy getting into that fight, and he's going to take quite a bit of damage from it. That Chaos Sorcerer managed to survive this whole time, too. The Dragon for the Dark Elves was very busy up in the air, just kind of sitting back and firing and using breath spells, or breath attacks. So the Firebark Elders finally rout these Winterheart Guards are unbreakable, so that's the reason why they haven't routed. And then we also have another unbreakable character over here, Orion. So Orion is also unbreakable. He's back there throwing his spears. He's got 96 kills. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos and another Wild Rider. These are not, I mean, these units can do some good damage if they get into the right spots, but there is a lot left for them to deal with. And as much as Orion's Mel Gibson-esque look can carry him, and you will get a feel for just how tanky this guy is. He is incredibly tanky. Man, this game is beautiful. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Orion, as he gets lower on health, he has abilities that actually give him, like, I think it's like 44% damage resistance. And this Wild Hunters of Kurnos has the Guardian ability, which will give him, I think it's 12% physical resistance. I was trying to use my ship here, but the cavalry ran out of range, so it didn't work. I'm going to chase him with the Skin Wolves. The Armored Skin Wolves should do okay versus these Wild Rider units. Then I bring in Orion, or sorry, I bring in my Death Shaman, my Werewolf, or Werekin, and Wulfric all at once, and Orion quickly drops some hit points, but again, when he gets down below that certain point, he starts regenerating, and look at the resistance of this guy. He is tanking 3 extremely powerful heroes, and now there's a Famir warrior in here, and just look at the tanking. It is incredible what this guy can do with his last, 10 or 20% of hit points. He comes up against, just an incredible beating here. It lasts a long time, all things considered, but that tree is eventually cut down, and that is going to leave just the Winterheart Guards over here with 5 soldiers remaining, being cut to bits by the Beastmen. Such a cool looking unit, too. Unfortunately for them, they're dead. It was a great battle. It was fun. Unfortunately, like I said in the live stream, it lagged like crazy, and I really wanted to show it here so people could get to see it the way that it should have been seen. So I do hope you all enjoyed that one. Heir of Carthage signing out for now. Thank you to Reptile King, Based Zeus, Broken Sky, Got Pizza, and Regina for playing the battle. Let's kind of look through the kills. So this was my stats here. None of my units doing anything incredible. Reptile King really cleaning house with one of his Forsaken units, so that was pretty awesome. I saw the Summoners of Rage doing some pretty important damage. I know the kills may not reflect a lot, but it seemed like they got some good stuff in. And Based Zeus here with the Beastmen. I misspoke earlier when I said it was Reptile King. He really got some good kills in with this Centigore, and it was still mostly alive at the end of that as well. I really liked his Beastmen army here. This is just a gruesome army. All of that forward deploy, ambushing, tough infantry line backed up by a Lord who's very tanky. And then for Broken Sky, take a look through here. There's some Witch Elves getting decent kills there. The Blackguard got just chewed up. Nothing going there. Got Pizza. Decent kills on one Swordmaster. It looks like it routed with a pretty fair number of units left because it wasn't alive there at the end of the battle. And his Phoenix Guard kind of being the two biggest holdouts, but the rest of his army got savaged pretty hard because there was kind of a double team on my side of the battle. Look at Orion here racking up 100 kills. I love this Regiment of Renowned army from Regina. Regina, I swear, always hits me with some kind of different army. So I guess this shouldn't surprise me. And look at the kills here. Wild Riders, 143, 178 on the Hunters of Kurnos. So I think that Regina was just like kind of slowly picking off routing units potentially. And managed to get a pretty high number of kills. I don't know what the value was, but it was pretty entertaining nonetheless. So thanks for the awesome army pick. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe. Click that bell so you can see more. If you liked it, click that like button so you can help other people find this video. Heir of Carthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon.